When you're on the phone and people can't see you, so, you know, we've talked, I guess, tonality of language and voice. How does that impact what the other person's hearing?
Dramatically. So women's voices are an octave higher than men's. So what happens is the voice of leadership is actually perceived as low, slow and loud. So as a woman on the phone, when voice is even more important than face to face, you're an octave higher. So immediately, you know, it's the classic thing about people who ring the organisation and then say, could I speak to the manager, please? You know, and they are the manager. Then women who have a visual preference under stress tend to go even higher and into the child's range. And when we have a visual preference, the phone, there is no visual on the phone. So we overcompensate, and you find that people will be saying, I'll just answer the phone, pick up the phone and say, hello, this is Louise. And it's ridiculous. We're way out of the leadership game. So because we're a woman, it's higher, and because of a visual preference. And that can send the perception of who we are in a negative direction.
So assume that I'm an agent and I'm sitting at my desk and I'm doing prospecting calls. I'm talking to people who I haven't necessarily met. They've never heard my voice before. And I'm trying to either get in and do an appraisal of their home or get them on my database so I can send them information. Let's talk about two things. Let's talk about the tonality of your voice and the language that perhaps you should be using for them to gain some level of trust with you to give you information. So we'd start with tone first. What should your tone be like?
Well, really there's a neutrality of tone with a bit of excitement to start with. And then it's about matching the tone of the other person. You know, the minute you hear their voice, that basically indicates where it's going. So if somebody's speaking very fast and they're in a rush, you don't want to be saying, good morning, and in total conflict in every way. You know, so it's very much about what they're doing. Also, I think that one thing people never think about is the amount of air that you use and the amount of air that escapes in the sound. So we can become very crispy, very short, and breaking air very tight. Whereas actually on the phone, it's terribly important. The voice of trust has air that continues to flow, and even some extra escaping air, which indicates how caring you are, how unblocked and fearless. So that's about the tone. In terms of the words that you say, you know, it's the whole field of suggestion and using words that suggest to people very trustworthy. So, you know, everyone uses this, a global quantifier. Everyone finds this effective. You know, triple yes, getting people to constantly say yes, yes, yes. Positive statements. You know, there's many things that you can do.
What about when you are one-on-one in a lounge room? Clearly you're not going to do that.
No.
But if I'm sitting across from you and you want to list your house with me, what are you going to be looking at from me as a sales agent to say, you know what, there's confidence, I can trust her or him for that matter?
Well, posture, a straight back basically says confidence, a curved back says fear, a head off says insecurity and can become aggressive. So the head on, the back straight, the eyes on the person unmoving. And one of the things that people don't realise is the blink rate. And actually it's a blink every 4 seconds. A blink every 4 seconds. And the neck being back is actually loose, and how we keep it loose is a nod. And that says I lack defensiveness. We jam our neck when we're defensive, we nod it when we're lacking defensiveness, and then eyes on and blinking every 4 seconds.
So the concept about mirroring someone who's in front of you, that actually does work, because hopefully if they're relaxed, they will be doing exactly what you've just said.
Look, it's finding again that neutral position. So where do you start? You know, you start in the neutral, and then as you mirror them, a neutral and relaxed position, and then as you mirror them, you can get into difficulty as they have difficulty. You want to find your neutral again and to work it. It's like a game. It's like a dance.
Okay, interesting. Most people would choose death over public speaking. And I think a lot of people don't choose auctions because it's a form of public speaking as well. There's some great sales agents who should be auctioneers, and they fear the art of standing up and doing presentations. What are some of the tips that you can give people who are doing public speaking or are thinking about it, that when they get up on stage and talk to people, and you've got 300-400 eyes on you, what should you be doing in terms of your body stance, your body language, your tone, your voice?
Well, I think we've been led down the garden path is the big problem. And where we've been led down the garden path is that people try to relax and they try to take a deep breath. There is nothing relaxing about standing in front of a group, and taking a deep breath when you're stressed actually magnifies the disaster. So something I learnt from my opera background was to use a Kapalabhati breath, which is an energizing breath that kicks the diaphragm free. That is like that. And you can cover that in a social situation with a cough. Which kicks the diaphragm free. It's about getting the air moving. So getting the air moving, make sure that it's low in the body, and then, you know, it's a freeze effect. Being frightened gives you a freeze effect. So we want to get rid of the freeze effect, which means moving. Now, how do you move effectively? Well, we mentioned moving and stopping. That's important, but also knowing the positional power of the space and where to go for power, and then also anchoring spaces so that you're moving for a purpose, not just wandering. And then you can move, you can unfreeze. Keep breathing, keep the diaphragm unlocked.
Louise, thank you so much for your time again. It was great having you on board. I could talk to you all day. Unfortunately, I don't have all day, but thank you again so much for your time.
Thanks, Hannah.